the past couple of years, the Tennessee-Alabama rivalry hasn't been that competitive. What is Tennessee going to have to do tomorrow to return that competitiveness?
Their playmakers are going to have to make plays, and obviously they have, I think, a special guy in Josh Dobbs as far as being able to extend plays and kind of keep the offense on somewhat of a track. And Tennessee, we could be sitting here with Tennessee 6-0. So hopefully the mindset that Alabama has is that this record doesn't reflect how good this team is, and if so, both of these teams playing at a high level, it should be a good game.
How good is Alabama's defense in your opinion, and do they compare to any other defenses you've seen in the past?
They're better than 6 defenses in the NFL right now. I would not think Alabama was the #1 team in the country if this defense wasn't playing like this. I still think there are some things left to be desired on offense, and obviously, so much coverage, all of those things are known already. But defensively, it's been a joy to watch, and they're dominant, turning teams over, but they're playing smart. They were having problems on the edge of the defense early in the season. Looked like Kirby and those guys got those things situated. I think Mel has done a tremendous job in the secondary. Guys are flying around, and they look a lot more sure about what they're doing in the secondary. And we talked about this front seven over and over again leading into the preseason, but the secondary has started to look like the best unit on the defense, and I think that's scary for people. They're stopping the run game. If not #1, they're in the top 5 in rush defense. So it's just a lot of things that they're doing well. But if I look at this defense and I tell you a guy that has made the biggest difference from last year to this year is Reggie Ragland. I think he's directing all of the traffic. I think guys are confident in being in the right position, knowing that he'll show up at some point eventually, and then Reuben Foster is playing lights out. So I think in the center of this defense is what hurt them last year when teams would start going east and west and try to spread them out. They've shown a lot of ability in coverage, and obviously they play the run well because that's what they do at Bama.
So is it fair to say you think Ragland coming back for his senior year was a wise decision?
Most definitely. I think he's a top 5 linebacker on every GM's draft board right now, based off the way he's been playing, and just the ability to have leadership and not finishing the way they wanted to last year, I think had a lot to do with it. And so I liked him last year as a player. He showed up big in the college football playoff, made a lot of plays. But this year he's kind of taking ownership of that position, and the team seems to be rallying around how well he's doing, but also how he communicates.
Marcus, if Alabama wins this game, we're looking at another Alabama-LSU showdown. What's the first thing that pops in your mind when you hear those two teams together?
Well, it's going to be crazy. I mean, it has become a rivalry because the teams are good usually, and when they meet each other, it's usually a lot on the line, which is obviously going to be the case going into November 7th. But I look at both of those teams, and if Alabama is better than LSU, it's 51-49. So it's not really a glaring difference. Now I do feel like LSU took some strides against a good Florida defense and showed the ability to be multiple on offense, which was their big question. But LSU secondary isn't playing like the normal LSU secondary, and Alabama is playing like the #1 secondary. So it'll be trying to expose each other's weaknesses throughout the game and trying to find those areas to kind of capitalize on them not being able to be who they are identity-wise. And I think everything on offense starts with Derrick Henry and this offensive line. And if you neutralize him, I think that gives you the best chance, because you got to see what Jay Coker can do when he has to win a game, and vice versa for Brandon Harris. So I think it'll be a chess match in trying to get one of these teams to become one-dimensional offensively, and defensively both of them will show up because they'll be trying to jock for position.
In terms of a physical nature, is that about the pinnacle at the collegiate level?
Yeah. When I look at LSU's offensive line right now, who I would put in the top 3 in the country right now, the way they've been playing. We've had so much hype about Leonard Fournette, and I love him. I mean, you guys know I'm an LSU fan after I get done doing my job. But the guy has 740 yards before he's even touched. So that says a lot about the guys up front that's moving piles. And I think matchup-wise, when you talk about physical ability, big on big, good on good, LSU's offensive line is probably best suited to try to block Alabama's defensive line. And I'm looking forward to it because it's my type of game. Like blood in the nose, snot running out your mouth, and all kind of stuff just going haywire. And it's going to really come down to what it has come down to in the recent years, and that's whose playmakers are going to step up and make that key play late in the game, or who's going to get an extra possession in the game to get the W.
How do you compare?
That's it. One more, Grayson.
Sorry, I didn't realize you were all good. How do you just compare and contrast Henry and Fournette and the way they play, the way they run?
Well, I think Derek is more of a straight line guy. I think Derek is, you know, I hadn't seen that wiggle yet that you love from a back, but what he does is effective in this offense. And, you know, I think, look, not just because it's LSU, you'll get this consistency from a lot of people. Derrick Henry is obviously a great running back, but Leonard Fournette is the best college football player in the country. And I don't think anybody would dispute that up until this point with what he's been able to do running the football. But when you get two guys like this in a game where both of the defenses will be pinpointed on the single guys that make these offenses go, it'll be interesting to see which one rises above.